Why on earth are you going to a war that you know for a fact that you're going to end up negotiating? Why don't you go to negotiation the first time? You see the Russians coming in, you see the Americans coming in, you see the Saudis coming in, you see the UAE coming in, you see the Egyptians coming in, not because they love us as Sudanese, because we are in the middle of Africa, in the midst of the Red Sea. Russia is in deep trouble. RSF is indeed trouble. Um, and we actually have documented, and there is plenty of documentation and plenty of proofs that there was and there is an alliance between the RSF and the Wagner Group.
For more videos like this, subscribe to It Matters. Please don't forget to like, share. Also comment down below what else should I cover in my videos. Put the notification icon on to not to miss any video from It Matters. On the 15th of April 2023, a war broke out in the western part of Sudan, particularly in Darfur and Khartoum, which is the capital city of the nation. Citizens had no clue that what was going on, what they should do in the situation. Within moments, this war took a dreadful turn where citizens saw ashes and fire in the capital city. Few civilians died as they got into the crossfiring between Sudan's National Army and the RSF. With this awful sight, it marked the beginning of Sudan Crisis. With this, the world also got to know the reason behind the turmoil in the country, which is the war between the National Army and the paramilitary forces, which is also known as by the name of RSF or Rapid Support Forces. Sudan is a country known for its hospitable people and its mineral wealth. Then what has turned this mineral-rich nation into a battleground? Till now, due to the ongoing war, approximately 700,000 people have been displaced within 15 days into the war. Let's have a discussion with experts, diplomats and researchers around the world to know the reason behind this turmoil, how it all got started, and mainly to know that why two different forces of the same country are in a conflict, and where is this war leading the resourceful rich Sudan to? Can we describe the current turmoil in Sudan as a cutthroat competition for power between two men, because of which the whole country is facing the ramifications and is suffering somewhere?
There were these two giants, this two army of people, and like literally two men, and who are fighting this war. And they reach a point where they couldn't agree on whether it's going to be 2 years or 10 years. They went on a war, and now everybody's suffering. As you know, there are two parts that are touched particularly with this war. One is the capital, Khartoum, and the other is Darfur, which is the well-known situation for the last 20 years. Khartoum is it's its first time going through any notion of war.
If you have a family member or someone whom you know who is currently present in Sudan, how are they describing the on-ground situation of the people in Sudan at the moment?
My nephew just called me, I think it was last week, and there's a bomb that went through his house with his 4 kids, and now he's terrified. He called me up and he was like, I have dirt all the way from top of my head to my toes. I've never witnessed this. The kids are crying, and I have no way of how to deal with this. It's my first time, and I don't even know where to go. Multiply this in the millions. These stories, the horror of people who are staying in their houses and they are killed by virtue of being in your own house. You haven't done anything. You haven't even stepped outside your house. It's in your house, taking all the precautions that you could take, and yet it will hit you.
Can we see any form of negotiation between the RSF and the Sudanese National Army? As recently, Al-Burhan, who is the de facto army chief, have denied from any form of negotiation until the war ends. So can we see any form of negotiation, according to you?
Head of the army himself, he called it absurd war, unnecessary war. And if it's unnecessary, why are you fighting it? Yeah. And the most absurd of it for me is they will end up negotiating an agreement. Why on earth are you going to a war that you know for a fact that you're going to end up negotiating? Why don't you go to negotiation the first time? I'm sorry to raise my voice because I want to really convey to the audience the absurdity of what's happening in Sudan.
Sudan's geopolitical location in the world is a significant one, as world's 10% of 3 to 1. Sudan's geopolitical location to the world is a significant one, as it is present on the Red Sea. Also, world's 10% of the global trade passes from the Suez Canal. So can we see any form of hindrance in this global trade, or any form of, even Sudan is a resourceful rich country, so can we see any form of hindrance of the Sudanese natural wealth to the world?
And this is the reason why you see so many actors coming in all at once. You see the Russians coming in, you see the Americans coming in, you see the Saudis coming in, you see the UAE coming in, you see the Egyptians coming in, not because they love us as Sudanese, because we are in the middle of Africa, in the midst of the Red Sea. We could disrupt a lot of things. We could disrupt the world trade. Like literally, I mean that. So anything that's coming through either oil, through Saudi Arabia, trades that are coming from Asia to Europe or from Europe to Asia, we could disrupt all trades that are coming through the Red Sea to locked in nations like
Russia's Wagner Group is present in Sudan from quite a long time now, and a lot of diplomats are questioning this presence of the Wagner Group in the region. It has been seen over the past few years that Russia's involvement in Sudan is a lot due to the reason that they have good relationship with RSF, which is the paramilitary forces. Can we see a Russian involvement in the war, as they have an interest in the gold mines of Sudan, and most of the gold mines in Sudan are being controlled by the RSF recently? So can we see any Russian involvement in this war?
A simple, straightforward answer, absolutely yes. Russia is in deep trouble. RSF is in deep trouble. And we actually have documented, and there is plenty of documentation and plenty of proofs that there was and there is an alliance between the RSF and the Wagner Group. We know that. That's confirmed. Let's not even deal with a discussion around it, period. Okay. So let's start a new line. The new line would say, how do we either hold Russia from helping the RSF, because by helping them, then we are turning Sudan into a new Libya.
Yeah.
We're turning Sudan into new Chad. We're turning Sudan into new Central Africa, and so on and so forth.
Egypt has always been a part of Sudan throughout its history, reason being it is getting benefited by the Great Nile River. So gradually it has an interest in Sudan's matter. Can we see in the near future that Egypt is taking side of the Sudanese army or the RSF, or what will be the intention of Egypt to safeguard its interest in the region?
The Nile and water is the primary thing that Egypt worries about and should worry about. That's absolutely, they have no way of being neutral in this war. They cannot, just because everything, all the water that going to Egypt is going through Sudan, so they have to be on a side that would benefit them. And unfortunately, I think they miscalculated this, because right now they are supporting the army, because they supported the army against a civilian transitional army, a transitional government. And in doing so, then you are hinting, not only hinting, you are clearly stating actually that you are in the wrong side still. And so Egypt's question has to be answered by them, and it's a difficult question. Would you be on the transitional democratic civilian government, or will you continue to support the army, which itself declares that it's going to go to its barracks?
Can we see a situation of Syria being formed in Sudan if the fight prolongs, where few countries will be taking side of RSF according to their own personal interest, and few countries will be taking side of the Sudanese army, again according to their own personal interest?
If you asked me this question about a month ago, I would have been firm in saying no. Going through this last month, the last 4 weeks, I had like literally did a 180 degrees in rethinking my ideas. I didn't even know that we could be so awful as Sudanese. We could be so, and excuse my German here, so stupid to allow something like this to happen. No one knows why we're having a war, and no one knows where it's leading to. So it's your question after the last 4 weeks that we went through the war has become a very, very troubling question, because increasingly I'm asking myself whether, and it's becoming a hypothetical question, a theoretical question, whether Sudan can turn into Syria.
What do you think will be the final outcome of this war? Where is this war leading Sudan to at the moment? Reason being, considering the fight right now, there are a lot of fatal possibilities. So, what do you think will be the final outcome of the war?
And I'm gonna play my magic. Okay, this is the $5,000 question, and my magic to it is negotiation. That's it. Because there is even not even a second choice, let alone a third choice. No, negotiation. They cannot win a war that is, unless you like wipe out cities, the capital itself, sections of it, unless you want to prolong this war for years, not months, or at minimum few months from now, where you will have dead, starving people that are either not interested in government or ungovernable, because by then you will have lootings, which had started already. You will have just gangs all over the place, and so on and so forth. So what are you gonna govern? You're gonna govern a crumbling country, ungovernable,